To breaking news now, CN Rail and the union representing workers have reached a tentative agreement after a week-long strike. A statement from Teamsters Canada Rail Conference says normal operations at CN will resume tomorrow at 6 a.m. 3,200 CN workers have been without a contract since July. They walked off the job on November 19th over concerns about long hours, fatigue, and what they call dangerous working conditions. The tentative agreement must now be ratified by Teamster members through a vote. Danielle Smith from 770 CHQR joins us this morning to continue the conversation on this story. And Danielle, this happened in the nick of time.
It did, and I guess it also validates Ottawa's approach to this, that everybody had been calling for them to recall the Parliament early so that they could do back-to-work legislation. The Parliament wasn't set to go back till December 5th, so everybody was wondering, how are we going to survive this long? We were beginning to see already chemical plants laying off workers. They were talking about potash laying off workers this week as well. We know the impact it's had on the energy sector. We know the impact it's been having with propane in Quebec. And so people were thinking that the only solution to this would be for the parliamentarians to return and order them back. And the government said, no, let the process play out, and it did. I think, I don't know if this was the deciding factor, but that damning phone call that was released with the supervisor ordering a conductor to get on the road and travel for several other hours to get to a location to be relieved after already working for 10 hours, that kind of gets to the crux of what it is the Teamsters were asking for. Now, I don't know that there's been any details on how they've managed to resolve that problem. I recognize it's pretty tricky. You're out in the middle of nowhere. It's hard to be able to get relief staff. You're moving from you have long distances that you need to travel, but they need to be able to resolve that. I think we've seen the impact of unsafe rail incidents. We've seen the impact of unsafe driving incidents. It's a pretty vital issue when it comes to working conditions and safety for the workers. I'm glad they came to a conclusion on this. I'll be interested in seeing how that works in practice.
All right, Danielle, and as you mentioned before, that there was a lot of debate regarding how people wanted to see this issue resolved. Do you think that in future strikes, people will want to rely more on mediation?
It's interesting, Ottawa's approach. I'm not quite sure who it is they have in the team that supports the minister on this, but I've been watching this. It seems like dispute after dispute after dispute. There's several regulated agencies at the federal level, but whether it was WestJet, whether it was Canada Post, I think there was another one in there in the mix as well. When Patty Hajdu was minister, those seem to get resolved behind closed doors without the need for legislation. And here's another example of that. So there is something happening at the federal level. It's not very transparent. We don't get to see it, but it appears to be working. And as long as it's working, then allowing the process to play itself out probably allows both sides to let the steam be let off a little bit, and also gets to a solution that both sides can agree to. So in this case, certainly seemed to work.
All right. Thanks so much, Danielle. And you can listen to Danielle today from 9:30 till 12:30.